Dear viewers, welcome back to another episode. It's me, Nathaniel Amanel, with my co-host Fetawi Mahari. Welcome back to our second episode. This will be an episode in English. We got a exciting episode today. But before we jump over to our guest, how do you feel being back and talking in English, Fetawi?
I mean, it's. I think we're getting more used to it. So let's hope you viewers also can see that we're getting a little bit more comfortable. We're getting better at it, and I think today's is going to be a really good episode. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, for sure. This is today's episode is quite special. It's not every day we get to do this, get an opportunity to have the guest you're about to meet. We're very honored that our guest took the time of her busy schedule to come in and join us on this episode. So, not to take any time, our guest is the permanent representative of Eritrea to United Nations, Ambassador Sophia Tesfariam.
Good afternoon.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon. Thank you so much for taking time, Ambassador. This is really an honor.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's great to be back in Sweden.
All right.
Now, I know there's quite a time difference. I know you are at work, so we're really grateful that you're here with us today.
Yeah, we won't let the minister know what we're doing.
So, we've known you for quite a while, but it's not for us to tell your story. I kind of wanted you to present yourself to our viewers, a little about yourself and about your work.
Well, my name is Sophia Tesfariam, and of course, my most important job in life is being a mother of 3 kids,
Yeah.
3 grown-up adults now, no more children. And I am a product of the diaspora. I'm a product of the diaspora communities. I was raised in the Washington, D.C., DNV area in the Eritrean community, came here when I was a teenager and have been here ever since. So it's almost like a badge of honor to stand here at the UN and tell them, if you don't think we can represent Eritrea here, I'm representing Eritrea at the UN, and I've never lived in Eritrea a single day. So it's
Wow.
quite possible to do that. That Eritrea is, in our hearts and in our minds of every Eritrean, no matter where they are. So um, that's the short of it. Of course, we've met many times before. Have been to Europe. I'm counting 11 wa'alas or something. Probably have the record on wa'alas. And until I came to New York, I pretty much attended all the YPFDJ conferences in Sweden, Germany, Norway, and come there many times to do Mahata work and community work. So very familiar with all of you, and all of you have grown up so much.
That's true.
So we've
Uh,
all
no,
grown.
yeah. But what a journey! I mean, as you said, someone who was raised in diaspora has an opportunity to represent Eritrea at the highest level. It's a symbol for us all who share similar stories.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Can tell you all the things that you can get done, and you always think, what can we do for Eritrea? You can serve at the UN, you can represent, and
Yeah.
plus, we can do much more stuff. But this is a good way to say the diaspora is part and parcel of the community in Eritrea. And they're not joking when they say Gumbar Arbate, because we do have a job to do, and we do have to feel like we're a part of that nation building process and development in Eritrea and all the spheres. So,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. Yeah, and now your main job being the permanent representative at the UN. Um, can you tell us a bit? How long have you been in this position?
September was 4 years. So
Yes.
time flies. I didn't realize it had gone by so fast. Well, our main job here is to represent Eritrea in all discussions that are going on here. Of course, there's a million and one discussions going on, so you have to pick and choose which one is the most relevant. And it's like a huge university here. You have so many classes and so many events happening. You kind of pick and choose which ones will be most relevant for you, which ones are geared towards your priorities, what are the things that Eritrea is looking for. Sometimes it's just to gather information on different topics, technology, something on climate, something on women, something on, pandemics. There's many events going on in addition to all the other discussions in the main forums. So we pick and choose which ones will be something that we can learn from, something we can share with Asmara and help in any way on that end. So beginning of the year, we sit here, we decide, there's many events coming up. Some of them are mandatory, some of them we have to be there. But what are the other ones that we can partake in? And then there's also other events that go on outside of the UN, but are UN related, where you have, NGOs, think tanks coming and having discussions on many issues, de-dollarization, or is it Venezuela, is it universal health coverage, or is it sanctions? So many outside stakeholders also come to the UN and hold discussions here with member states so that we can have a common understanding, common
Yeah.
platform where we can all bring our ideas and they can share their academic backgrounds and tell us what the issues are. And the social scientists come here and tell us stuff. So many things happen. If you say you're bored at the UN, you're not working because you can't get bored here. You just don't have enough time to cover everything that happens in this place. But
No, it's as you said. I mean, it's a huge. I mean, place. There's so many things going on, and for someone like me who don't really knows the ins and out of working at the UN or the UN system in itself, what have you found to be people's biggest misconceptions about the United States, United Nations systems and its function?
um, one of the biggest misconceptions, and this is also from us, because when I first came here and they said, Sophie, what do you want to do here? What are your priorities? I said, I want to change the narrative about Eritrea at the UN to see, if we can make a dent in the misconceptions there. But I found myself more also trying to change the narratives about the UN and what the UN actually stands, so that it makes my work easy. So I'm not going to get pushback saying, it's a worthless organization, it can't do anything, it's no good, it hasn't been able to resolve issues, it hasn't. But then we all go back to square one and we say, so who is the UN? And in the end, the UN is the member states. It is an intergovernmental organization. So member states together decide on the issues that are coming to the forefront. And if you're not there and you're not participating and you're not part of the discussions, then you will lose out, because then others will be making decisions for you. Most resolutions, they pass so many 300, 400 resolutions a year. Um, some of them are recurring, some of them keep coming back every year. But if you're not there to say what it is about the resolution that you're not comfortable with, then majority of the member states who are discussing it will see some value in it and may pass a resolution, and you'll see that the resolution has been passed, but you are absent. You didn't register your voice, or you didn't make any proposals or any inputs into the discussions that are going on there. So in the beginning, we were so busy with the sanctions and the border demarcation and all that stuff. So maybe this mission was not as engaged in all the other areas of discussions that were happening at the UN. But since 2019, I think the situation also in the Horn of Africa had simmered down. We had less contentious issues to deal with. So we were able to actually go and look at what the UN is and what the UN can do. The UN can't solve every problem in the world. And obviously we can see this week, we can't even get the UN to enforce a ceasefire, because who is the UN? Yes, member states voted, X number of us voted so that we can have a ceasefire in Gaza, but it's the Security Council in the end that decides on peace and security issues, and those are the only resolutions that are binding if it's a Security Council under Chapter 7. So we haven't been able to get the member states on the council, not the permanent members or the P5, China, the US, and France, UK, to actually come together and say, this is what we need. So we've been having meetings. It's not the lack of meetings. They meet almost every day. They discuss the issues every day. The Arab group, the OIC, everybody's doing the circles around the UN trying to get something happening. But this, I think, is exactly the kind of situation that shows you how little can be done if states don't coalesce and come together and really make the system work. And right now, it's not working. You can tell it's not working. We've been complaining it's not working. The UN has lost its credibility over the years for many reasons. For our own national issues, we say, what was it doing for 9 years when a country was being sanctioned? Why didn't they lift the sanctions? Why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? But it all depends on the Security Council, and those sanctions were Security Council sanctions, and unless the Security Council comes together and decides that there's no utility in it, they won't remove it. So sometimes it's political issues that constrain the council, because they will not do the right thing because they have national interests also. So for us, not being here and not giving up, and raising our voice and trying to be present and trying to be heard in the different forums, I think it's the only way that we can help move the needle a little bit. The needle's not moving yet, but we can obviously see that from last week's and the last month, the last 30 days, we've seen this chaos. So now, as Eritreans, when I look back and I say, so why didn't they do this? Before we used to say, why can't the UN do that? We sent them so many letters. We wrote, X number of letters to the UN and the Security Council, and we, made phone calls. We sent faxes. We've been back then too. So our struggle has been long and continuous with the UN, and yet we find out that many years later that the UN hasn't basically, celebrated 75 years plus, but it still hasn't lived up um, to the aspirations of the people, or what the charter was saying to do, to stop the scourge of war, to bring development, to bring security, and all the good things that the human rights around the world. I think the UN has been laid bare, because none of those things exist now. It's a chaotic world. There's conflicts everywhere. There's mismanagement of our resources. There is issues that could have been resolved easily that are being dragged on for generations, and conflict resolution is not there, mediation is not there, credibility is not there. But do you give up? No, because in the end it's you. The only ones that can fix it is you. So they do have a process here. It's been going on for 20 years now, on the reform of the Security Council, to see how we can have more members on the council that would have a veto power, more on the council that would represent Africa. Africa is not represented on the Security Council, 54 countries, and we don't have veto power. But the discussions have been going on for 20 years plus. So it's a very slow process. And because it's intergovernmental, 193 countries have to agree for something to even move a little bit. So it'll take some time, but I think shocks like this, the pandemic and COVID, shocks like the Gaza situation, shocks around the world that are really going to affect global, when it affects us globally, then I think the responses will be faster, or else the discussions will move into more substantive stuff. It's not just, you come out there, you make a 2-minute statement, and you leave, and nothing happens. So
I understand it's it has to be a lot on your plate, and with everything as you're saying, it's chaos every here and there, as you mentioned. But I mean, with all of this happening, what are Eritrea's priority areas in the work at the UN?
well, for us, from the time I came here until now, primarily the one thing that we always put on the top of our work plan is that peace and security is important to Eritrea. Stability is important to Eritrea. Development is important to Eritrea. And then, of course, we'll work with all the other things that also take place here, the economic cooperation among states. We participate in the least developed countries group so that we can figure out, what can we do together? What are the opportunities that are available for us there? A couple of years ago, we did a voluntary national report on the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, to see where Eritrea is, and we did it on two issues, on two goals. But we're hoping that we'll be able to do another VNR this year or next year and do more out of the 17 goals, get more of the goals in there: health, education, how are we doing in agriculture, how are we doing on infrastructure, how are we doing on energy. And the more we do these reports, the more we inform ourselves on where Eritrea is on the SDGs. And then, we're midway now. We only have less than 10 years to go for the 2030 agenda to finish. And for us, the priority is for Eritrea to be one of the few countries, again, in sub-Saharan Africa that are going to meet the Sustainable Development Goals. So we do everything here to make sure that our development practice, our development knowledge, our development ideas are shared, and with Asmara also, with our development partners in Asmara, with the UN country team in Asmara, to make sure that the SDGs are center in the work that we do. So we've moved away from doing too much political work, sitting and babysitting the Security Council for so many years with those issues, but now pay more attention to the agendas and the work that's been going on other parts of the UN, like the GA, and taking also more active role in the legal sixth committee. The legal issues that come up, many things come up there: the law of the sea, and all these conventions that go through the UN system that we're signatories to. Now is a good time for us to go through all that and see where we are in implementation and compliance, and those kind of things. Of course, the fifth committee is the budget committee. We also participate actively in the budget committee because we want to know how the UN runs. And of course, we don't put a lot of money in there. We're not one of the big donors, but we do put some funds in the UN. We pay for peacekeeping forces that are all around the world. We pay our assessed contributions in the different groups that they have here. We participate with the G77 in China, the non-aligned movement. So different forums give us different opportunity to tell the Eritrean story in different ways. The non-aligned movement is more political, more of the political agendas at the UN are discussed there. There's, a sizable number, I think it's 134 or something. And it's a big number of people to have on there. But then within the you'll also find one or two that are not going to be helping with getting the consensus that we want from the group, and they'll create some problems. The G77 in China, the same. We have the numbers here, but do we all agree on what development is? What are the development concerns for everybody? The last few processes that happened during the high-level week, there was a lot of facilitation of a lot of negotiations for a lot of documents and declarations that were coming out. But even though we're talking development in Africa, and even though we were talking about things that affect our development or are impeding our development, we were finding out there were so many African countries and so many other countries that are supposed to be supporting us, refusing to sign on to things like UCMs, unilateral coercive measures. What is more debilitating than that? The embargo on Cuba, 60 years plus, as a group, we come and we vote 184 of them to remove the embargo against Cuba. But in the declarations and in the resolutions that we were working on throughout the 6 months, we couldn't even get one paragraph on UCMs put in these resolutions. So a lot of nights, these experts are sitting every day negotiating on our behalf, on behalf of groups, on behalf of member states, and on behalf of their own national states also. But very hard to move things. Every year the resolution comes, if you add one letter or a comma, you've made you've made progress. That's how slow this place moves. So for us, we the regional issues are important to us. So we're very active in the Africa group. We're not only active in the Africa group and present in the Africa group, we also try to support the initiatives that Africans are bringing to the UN also. It's not always about only Eritrean issues, but if there are issues that are being brought by other African states that we think we can support, we lend our voice and we lend our advice. One of the things that I like about Eritrea and the way it operates is the one thing that they always remind us is enlightened self-interest, that it's not necessarily always only good for Eritrea, but it might be something that's going to be good for the region, maybe for the Horn of Africa, maybe for Africa, it may be for certain agendas that we want to promote. So we try to be flexible but present and active in the Africa group to show solidarity where we need to show solidarity, and sometimes even scold when we don't get Africans to pay attention to what we want. And then of course the endless candidacies and the endless requests for they're running for offices here at the UN. There's so many executive boards here at the UN, and member states are the ones that are running it. So they come here for elections for that. The Human Rights Council in Geneva, they come here and try to campaign amongst member states to get elected in there. So we try to keep our eyes and ears open on all the issues that are happening. Tomorrow, I think they have elections for the ICJ, the International Criminal Court.
Okay.
The International Justice Court or something. So we've had people come here and campaign, to tell us how best they can serve Africa if they were Africans, and how best they'll serve the world if they're not Africans, and asking for our vote. So it's important for us. We tell them the elections is one way of doing our diplomatic work, because it's a give and take. So if Eritrea is going to run for an office somewhere in the system, like we did with the Human Rights Council, we campaigned also with these countries. So we have our work cut out also to go door to door and say, I can do this in the Human Rights Council, and you should elect us because of A, Y, Z and all that. But many things happen. The candidacy issue is big here. They use it for bilaterals when they have meetings. The Africa group, like I said, the NAM, the least developed countries and landlocked countries, they all have their forums here. So you can participate in many ways, but we try to pick the ones that are going to elevate what we want, which is more development knowledge, more development avenues, with the country team in Asmara. What are the things that we can push for? What are the priorities for Asmara and our national development policies, and align everything we do here with that. I tell them I align our work here with the charter. My PFDJ charter is what I go by. Who cares what the charter says here? I have my charter from Asmara, and that's what we try to promote. Social justice, participate with countries that promote that kind of development. The South American countries, Latin American countries, the Far East, there's many countries that are like-minded in many ways, and in the way that they conduct their development work. And maybe our best friends, our best allies may not be across the street from us or right next door to us. They might be across a couple of ponds away, and we find those like-minded people who can come with us and bring the consensus that we want in some of the issues that are important to us, help speak up for us and speak up together. And yeah.
It's interesting. It's interesting that you say that, because there's a group, or I don't know what it's called, but the group of friends in defense
Ah,
of the Charter of the United Nations, right? Um,
yes.
and I've heard this multiple times, and I know you're involved in that, and very passionate about that. But who are they, or what is it?
Um, well, in the work that we were doing before 2021, we realized that there were some groups that were like-minded. They vote similarly in resolutions in the General Assembly. In the third committee on social issues, they align with us on those issues. On political issues, their priorities align with ours. So we self-identified each other to see which one of us are very much alike, and that we can push agendas together and speak with one voice and put out statements together at the UN, in the different forums here and across. Even in Geneva, we've established a group of friends also in Geneva for the same group, the same set of countries. So we established it in 2021, and in the beginning, you know, nobody was worried about us. Nobody was giving us the left eye, let alone two eyes. Today, it's a very prominent group, and it's almost the one that speaks on almost every issue, every agenda item that comes up in the UN. And I think those who want to join, we're very picky about who can join, because you have to have the support of all the actual founders to say, yes, this country can join us. We keep it open. We say everybody can join, but it's very important that we don't bring in people or countries that are going to undermine what we're doing, or else make us ineffective. And then we'll be back to just being one of 193. But this way, there are about 20 countries, 19 countries now. We have two veto wielding member states, China and Russia, in the group. We have representation from across the world, in Asia, and the countries that we have: Algeria, Belarus, Bolivia, Cambodia, China, uh, DPRK, Equatorial Guinea, of course, Eritrea, Iran, Laos, Mali. Mali is our new member, Nicaragua, and the state of Palestine also, Syria, Venezuela, Zimbabwe, and St. Vincent the Grenadines from the CARICOM countries. So it's a good representation of very visible countries here in the UN to begin with. So working with them also brings our issues to the forefront, and enables us through the group to make the kind of collective statements that we want to make. And then you can't cover every event and medium and meetings that are happening here. So having the group of friends helps us in a sense that for a small mission like ours, you can't be stretched to cover everything. If the group of friends members are there, they can speak on behalf of the group. And when we meet monthly with the ambassadors, they're at the ambassadorial level, and then of course the experts level also, we can tell them what the priorities are for us, and we exchange letters and tell them, on this agenda item, this is what my position will be, this is how we want to handle it, and do reciprocal stuff, when they ask us to do something. So we've been asked to read statements for for the group of friends on many occasions. We just read one for Cuba and the embargo on Cuba. So that gives Eritrea more visibility at the UN when you're there speaking on behalf of a group as large as this and as prominent as this also. So it's been good for us. We would like to see, it's been, almost 100% of the work has been done by the Venezuela mission, which is, you know, uh, we owe them a big thank you for carrying us since its inception. They've been impeccable in presenting our voices and in making statements at every. It's not easy to make statements here all day long in different committees and different issues, but they've been really good at helping us, and we would like to see this chairmanship rotate through the groups and see who will take it. We have working groups within the countries themselves. We have focal persons in the country. We have a focal person in Asmara, and if they have meetings outside of the UN, we have attended. We went to one in Tehran, Iran, because they had a focal group meeting there. So we try to participate as much as we can and be present, and not just be members who are just filling up a seat, but active members who can bring something to the table. And the other day, the group of friends for the third committee on issues of unilateral coercive measures, they had a panel discussion at the UN, and we brought Elias Amare to speak on behalf of Eritrea. Yeah. You know, and have him be part of the panelists. So we try to use Eritreans from the diaspora. We also try to use Eritreans from Asmara, if they can make it, to actively participate and engage in the issues and the discussions that are happening here. So
Yeah.
It's always puzzled me because, as you mentioned before, there's the General Assembly, and then there's also the Security Council, which holds the real power. And I mean, it's always puzzled me because the real power lays with a few, and I mean, me as an outsider, I can sometimes even see that there might be even fewer than those five countries that really holds the greater power. How now we see some steps towards a multipolar world from a unipolar world. Is can you notice that in the day to day work at the UN?
well, I think, on peace and security issues, on issues that are the only mandate of the Security Council, there maybe the P3, P5, and the veto wielding powers have the power. But in the GA, 193 countries decide. So the United States in the GA has the same seat, same power, same everything as the rest of us. So on these day-to-day resolutions, on these decisions that we come up with, on the discussions that we have, they have the same seat and the same vote, one, just like the rest of us. So we don't feel their pressure in the 90 other percent of the work. It's only when we have security issues or something on the docket of the Security Council, which we don't right now. When we had the sanctions regime and had to go there and present, and and try to discount what the Somali Eritrea monitoring group was doing, trying to explain what was wrong. That was more tedious, and it takes up most of your time, and you end up, literally parked at the Security Council following your file. Since we don't have that issue now, we spend more time on the day-to-day issues that are taking place in the GA, which is what most member states are at, because unfortunately, all the files at the Security Council have something to do with Africa. It's always, Sudan, Somalia, South Sudan, Mali, and so all the other people are discussing other things in the world. So now we're back with the world, discussing what other people in the world are discussing. We're not parked at the Security Council, just discussing, peace and security issues. So I think once we don't have peace and security questions, even in the Security Council, we can participate constructively. There's the Women, Peace and Security agenda that comes up every year, and have discussions on the role of women, what women can do. It's a peace and security agenda passed by the UN Security Council Resolution 1325. I think it was in the year 2000, while we were still in the war. So, but that's a mandated resolution. And there's another Security Council resolution that pertains to youth and youth participation and what youth should be doing. So there's a resolution that pertains to you guys too, so that we try to participate in and find out, what is the latest and greatest, and what are they telling us is what needs to be done. So with women and youth agendas at the UN also, and these Security Council resolutions on both women and youth in peace and security agendas, we try to stay active. And I was telling them, maybe we need to bring more people to see what the dynamics are on the council during these sessions, during these open sessions, more than if you have a file there and they're discussing, your national issues. But when we start discussing global issues and issues that affect all of us across the board, the Security Council has some utility. It's not. It's the den of wolves, but the wolves don't come out. And then, and in those discussions, it behooves all of us to add to the discussions and share our inputs. And for me, I always feel sad because I always think Eritrea had so much to contribute in terms of what women have done for peace and security. It's not just about sitting at the table or sitting during a negotiating table, but actually to bring peace and security, fighting alongside our men and working so hard to bring this country to where it is today. The women's role has not been told. We haven't been able to express it in that language, in the peace and security language. And I think we can do that better in the years to come and see where Eritrea fits in, and how we can share our experiences and how our women got to do the things that the women here are trying to do. So we've already done that, been there, done that, but we're not telling, we haven't told anybody yet. So for us, it'll be a good time to share some of Eritrea's experiences, some of the experiences of our youth development, and take it from there and see if our other youth from outside our mission can also come here and participate and have this um, first-hand knowledge, so that the UN doesn't become this blue building that everybody's afraid of. So we make it part of our daily work, and create some kind of common understanding of what is realistically available for us here, and what is it that we do because we have to, because we're part of this global society. So.
And I think I speak for both me and Fatawi. I mean, just hearing all the answer, there's so many other questions I have, but we don't want to keep you here. I know you have a lot of work to do, but I have one question, kind of going back to the diaspora point. Um, what do you see the Eritrean youth in the diaspora? How can they participate in contributing to the development, the well-being of Eritrea, and our country's process and perhaps initiatives.
Well, even with YPFDG, we did that in the past also to see how we could contribute and what would be our role. Remittance, yes, it helps our families, it helps our people back home in a more personal, close thing. But for Eritrea as a country, what can we do? We would like to see youth today, since you guys have better jobs, better skills, to transfer your skills to Eritrea. But we need to do something on government side also that will accommodate this transfer of skills, that will be able to handle the investment that Eritrean can do. And the investment sectors are a lot for us. We have the tourism that's practically virgin. People are out there are dying to get in there and take our space. But I think in tourism we have a great potential. In agriculture we have great potential. But we can also transfer our skills, provide education, knowledge, go and do sabbaticals, and take your sabbaticals and do some service in some of the colleges that are up and coming. And Eritrea has managed to build capacity now. I think every year when we see the graduates, we're thinking, okay, all these graduates, and then what? So we need jobs. So we have to find ways to create jobs. And that's where the diaspora can help, if they can invest in certain sectors and create jobs for these up and coming young Eritreans. I think that would be a good way to help, But then outside, you can also do your technology development. AI scares me because the AI knows what I'm thinking before I even start thinking it. So, but I understand there's a great master's program in Eritrea that is instilling some skills into the people there. So maybe there's many things that are in the diaspora already that would be able to catapult some of the development accelerate some of the development programs inside of the country, but we need to do something also on the inside so that we can accommodate this young diaspora who's you know, happy to contribute but doesn't know how. So we have to find the mechanisms for engagement, and then of course what we always do, community development within the communities that we're in. Our communities need us also as much as Asmara needs us or Eritrea needs us. So don't forget, the communities also need enhancement, they need support, they need constant encouragement. We have young people in the community that we can mentor also, and advocacy, awareness, the same thing that we've been doing Mahata all these years, still continues. So for the youth, as for me, when I see Eritrean youth, it makes me the proudest when I know that they've been able to maintain their culture. They've been able to hold on to their principles, hold on to their values, to let them know that tomorrow will be better. It looks really dark today, it looks really difficult, but I think after the 20 years or so that we've seen in the last few huge incidents that happened to us, I think as a people, we have now overcome that weight that says we can't do this. I think the spirit in Eritrea and in the diaspora is, yes, we can. Yes, we can. We've done it. We've at least survived. Who would survive all this onslaught except for Eritrea? So I think the sense of pride, the sense of belonging, the sense of hope that the youth bring to the communities and to Eritrea is something that we should continuously work on and try to come up with new avenues, new mechanisms to help them move forward.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. This, of course, we would like to talk to you even more, and we hope we get the chance to talk to you again.
I
we
think
will
I'm
definitely
flying across the pond.
yeah.
This Zoom
No,
thing.
yeah. No, we will definitely send out more invites. We will be happy to have you here as much as you have time.
We do.
Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. It's really an honor for us to have you here. You are a role model for us, so we're looking forward to keep talking to you.
Thank you very much, and you're very welcome. And I wish you the very best in this program that you're doing. I think it's something that has been waiting to happen, and of course we're here to support you. We're not far away, and if there's anything that you need, me and my mission staff are here to give you the support that you need. And then you shouldn't just talk to me. You should talk to the real experts, the ones that really do the work and keep me honest in this place. My team, and that's who you need to talk to the next
Absolutely,
time around.
absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you very much.
So yeah, guys, that was our episode with Ambassador Sophia Tesfariam. I mean, a hefty episode. I mean, I think a whole new view of the job itself, how complex it is. I don't know what you thought, Fatawi.
Now, this it was really interesting. As you said, from someone from the outside, not really knowing what's really going on there, it's valuable. I would say it's really valuable, and I will definitely want her to come back again, and also her team, the staff
Yeah,
over there, so we can get different perspectives, of course. So that was a really nice episode.
yeah. And we'd love to hear all of our viewers' opinions. We'd love to want you guys to comment down below. The most important thing, as I said, comment, share, and subscribe. Definitely, we'll be having more of these episodes in the future. And yeah, as Tawi said, hopefully someone in her team will join us soon. Until then, have a good one and see you at next episode.
Bye.
By
Fatawi.
Rahel.
And Nathnael.
And we are here to tell you that Dmtsi Menisey is back to be broadcasted every 2 weeks here on this channel. Please tune in, join us for our conversations. We look forward to having you.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and also give us feedback in the comment section.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And also please give us feedback in the comment section.
Like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to give us feedback in the comment section.
We will be broadcasting in both Swedish and English. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to give us feedback in the comment section.
Eritrea Menisey Eritrea Menisey سلاح تمهل تمرمر نعقايا زهاجر نعقايا زهاجر نعقايا زهاجر نعقايا إرترا نعقايا زهاجر